What's happening, everybody? Happy Monday and welcome to the Rookie Rundown. I am your host, Memphis. You can follow me on Twitter at DWZMemphis. And with me, as always, every Sunday night is my co-host. It is Dallas Hyder. That's Salad Galore. That's Dallas backwards, SALLAD, Salad Galore on Twitter. Dallas, what's up, man?
Hey, Memphis. A little bit of a stressful week for me as a Bears fan. Free agency is in full swing right now. A lot of crazy moves going out there, specifically from my team. So I'm on, as you would say, pins and needles right now. A little stressed out, but I'm ready to talk some rookies with you. Let's get this going.
Yeah, man. And back again, 2 weeks in a row. He's our favorite digital design bro. It is Matty Big Chest at Matty Big Chest on Twitter. What's up, Mr. Matty?
It's good to be here, man. I'm just hanging out. Watching free agency, watching a little bit of college basketball.
Little
It's always
hoops.
a good time. It's always a good time, man.
Got to get your hoop on. So listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a 2-round rookie mock draft with a twist. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in at the 201. So I personally selected these top 12 picks. So if you want to yell at someone, yell at me at DWZ Memphis. Don't yell at my boys. They had nothing to do with picks 1 through 12. So I'm going to read picks from 1 through 12. And we had a review a while back that said when we're reading lists to read them slowly. So I'm going to do that to make sure everybody can follow along. So here we go. The 101 was Trevor Lawrence. The 102 was Najee Harris. The 103 was Travis Etienne. The 104 was Jamar Chase. The 105 was Justin Fields. The 106 was Javonte Williams. The 107 was Trey Lance. The 108 was Kyle Pitts. Remember, this is Superflex and tight end premium. The 109 was Zach Wilson. The 110 was Mac Jones. The 111 was Rashad Bateman. The 112, bit of a wild card, but I like it because that's how I roll. Rondale Moore. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to Dallas first. Dallas, what is your biggest pushback of my first 12?
I don't know that there's a lot of pushback with me, specifically with who you had going. I would argue I think the skill positions are going to push Mac Jones out of the first, personally. I've seen him in a lot of rookie mocks, and I've been in a lot of rookie mocks where he's going around the 203, 204, somewhere in that range, which is blasphemous just from the standpoint that he's going to be taken in the first round, most likely in the first 15 picks of the first round in this year's draft. And we all know that draft capital for quarterbacks is all that matters when it comes to Superflex. But that's the one thing I think that doesn't match up exactly with what I'm seeing in most of the mocks that I'm in.
All right, Matty, and what is your number one pushback of my top 12?
I will not stand for this hatred on Rondale Moore. Why is he number 12 and not number 1? I don't know. If you put Saquon Barkley's legs on a wide receiver, then you got Rondale Moore, right? I don't know. That's why I like Rondale Moore. I'm just joking around. I like your top 12, man. It's fine.
All right, well, it's just my top 12. It's basically what I did if I were on the clock. So when I did that earlier to prepare for the show, I just like, okay, if I was the 101, who would I take? 102, 103, 104, etc. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around the horn. Dallas is going to take the 201. Matty's going to take the 202. I'll take the 203. Then back to 4, 5, 6. I'll just call them out. When I get done, if you're following me on Twitter, I'll tag these two gentlemen. I'll post a picture of this because I'm doing it via like an Excel spreadsheet type document, nice and color coded, just like Sleeper. But I want control of every single pick because I gotta have control. So all right, Dallas, you're up. You're at the 201. So you know all those guys are gone. You know it's a super flex. You know it's a tight end premium. Give me your guy and the 30 to 45 second rundown.
Yeah, so for me, this is an easy, pretty much just wash pick for me. I'm taking Devonta Smith. Heisman winner, first wide receiver to win it in decades. He's extremely fluid. Size is the only concern that people have, but it doesn't matter. Production's production. There's a lot of guys roughly the same size as him. He breaks the 6 foot threshold. He breaks pretty much every metric you can look for. He shows up on film. He shows up on the analytics side of his play. I like him. I talked about it a little bit when we had Angelo on. I think he's the enigma of the class, but at the 2-1, if I'm getting the Heisman winner at a position like wide receiver, give me that all day.
First of all, great use of the word enigma, and we're going to put him down at the 201. You know, there was a time where being slight of frame could have been a hindrance, but man, I'm a guy who lives in Indy. If you're watching on Periscope Live right now, you'll notice I'm wearing my Colts hat. I mean, I watch Marvin Harrison. You know, from a physical standpoint, him and Devonta Smith were very similar. Coming out of school, he was not exactly a metrics buster. And then there's T.Y. Hilton, you know, and then as the league has got, I don't want to say soft, but as the league has gotten more player friendly and the lack of contact after 5 yards and no head hunting over the middle, there's no reason in the modern NFL why Devonta Smith cannot be successful. So, Maddie, I'm going to throw it to you, my friend. Who is going to be your guy 202?
Yeah, the 202, you know, it's kind of a hard pick here. Devonta Smith was the obvious pick in the second round, it seemed. So here I'm going to go with a high upside pick, and that's with Kenneth Gainwell. And this week, you know what he did? He gained well, man. He came in at over 200 pounds at his pro day. That is huge for Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, he kept his speed. He's an agile back. He reads the guards well when they're blocking. He knows which way to go. That's something that it's vision. You can't teach that, and it's something that DeAndre Swift shows. And you know, that's why I like Kenneth Gainwell, is because he does a little bit of that Memphis offense. It runs similar to it's a very zone heavy offense. So you know, they run a lot of zone offense, and that's something that they do a lot in the NFL. So you know, Kenneth Gainwell, he's going to go to his own team and he's gonna eat.
I love it. Kenneth Gainwell has become the new hotness, if you will. The guy I'm getting ready to take is going to be old and busted, and Kenneth Gainwell is the new hotness. But, you know, he's right. You know, he had to hit that 200-pound threshold. He's got good height, and someone posted a list of all the running backs that were that size or a hair smaller. It included like Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler and a bunch of guys who have had, you know, big success at the NFL, none bigger than Christian McCaffrey. My dude, I mean, I've always been a draft running back and trade for wide receiver guy. Now, I'm going to do a little projecting in this. I think Jamar Jefferson gets day 2 draft capital. I think he'll wind up somewhere in that second, third round. We're going to do a show this coming Tuesday. We have got Linda and Troy King from, well, I guess they're from everywhere. And we're going to talk about this very topic, the best of what's left of skill positions after, you know, free agency starting to wind down, like a Jamar Jefferson in Pittsburgh, a Jamar Jefferson in Atlanta, you know, one of those bell cow spots. That's what I'm looking for, but I like the athlete. I like the size, and I like the fact that he's a running back. I hate to be that biased, but running backs just seem to hit sooner and earlier, and he's the kind of guy that you could really own for a year and then flip for a wide receiver this time next year. That and the wide receivers just continue to flood the NFL. So there you go, Mr. Dallas. You're back up on the clock, 204. Any thoughts on Jefferson before we move forward?
So I have Jefferson a little bit lower than most people, specifically due to the guy that I'm going to be taking at my next pick that I think will be no shock to anyone who knows me. Jefferson. Terry. Oh, yeah, I'm reaching. No, but I like Jamar Jefferson. He's got a really well-rounded game. I think exactly what you said. If he gets picked up by a specific team that needs a running back as opposed to a team that already has someone as their starter, guns a-blazing, wheels on the ground, let's go. My concern is that his skill set and his well-rounded nature may put him as a team's like, oh, he's sitting in the third. We don't have a lot of depth on the running back position. Let's pick him up. And that's like the worst case scenario I can see happening. but I do like the pick. But for me personally, going at the 204, I'm going with my man, Michael Carter. This is right around that range that I said when we talked about him that first time. I thought he was going to be going somewhere between 204 to 206. I'm taking him right at that 204 spot. He is my running back 4. He's sitting there right now. He's got an extremely well-rounded game. As you guys know, I think he's Ray Rice incarnate. He is electric in the pass game. He is electric as a route runner in the pass game. And he is deceptively strong. And that's what I love about Michael Carter. He can run between the tackles a lot better than the guy that he gets compared to in Gio Bernard. And so I think his skill set specifically is going to be amazing. He's the guy that, yes, I don't think he's going to be that workhorse back that you're looking for, but he's ideal for being a satellite back and a guy that will actually get the primary carries if the lead back, quote unquote, does go down with an injury.
All right. Well, you are true to your board. Mr. Big Chest, you are up at the 205.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to that Jamar Jefferson pick. I think Jamar Jefferson's a really good running back. Reminds me of Kareem Hunt. He runs vertically instead of he doesn't sift through his line. He likes to go through his designed hole and then find openings. He always runs through the designed hole instead of waiting for an opening. So, that's might be the way his college plays, but that's his play style. So I like the pick because he's the guy who's able to make the next man miss. He has really good second level vision. So Jamar Jefferson's a guy that I was personally hoping that would fall to me, and you took him. So thank you, Memphis. But, at this pick, I'm going to pivot away from the running back position. I'm going to take a wide receiver, and it's going to be Terrace Marshall Jr. He's tall, he's fast, he's lanky, and he's a red zone threat. There's not much more to say about him. If he goes to the Packers, this pick looks a million times better.
He was actually someone that I saw in a mock draft the other day, mocked to the Packers. So maybe Maddie is on to something here. My guy, now I could have taken him last time, and I know someone's probably driving their car and screaming, or they're watching on their phone and throwing rocks, and you're like, God bless America. Who doesn't pick Jalen Waddle before then? Now, I love Waddle. I still have him extremely high on my personal board. I picked Jamar Jefferson just as a reminder that this is a very thin running back group. And once you get, and really running backs 4 through 6, we went Jefferson, we went Carter. Maddie, you picked one too, and I'm drawing a blank. But we took 3 more running backs. And once you get past that, I hate just about all these guys. Don't get me wrong. I'll throw my dart at some of these. I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to table talk and potentially put a name out there. But I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. I love this guy. I love the comp from Greg Cosell, a little T.Y. Hilton, a little Tyreek Hill. And, in the right offense, he could be – I would love to see him go back to Miami. I don't think he'll go at a place in the NFL draft where Miami can get him. But, man, just an interesting skill set and a guy that I'm into. So, Dallas, anything on Waddle? And you, sir, are up at the 207.
Yeah, for me, everyone knows Waddle's not exactly my flavor of choice when I'm selecting wide receivers, but I think where you're getting him, he's not going to be there in a real draft. I enjoy the pick. It was the smart move. Highest player on your board, highest player on pretty much everyone's board, including mine. He would have been my pick 2 ago if things had basically worked out how I thought they were going to. But approve of him. Funny that you mentioned the T.Y. Tyreek kind of comparison there, because there's some talks of T.Y. going to the Chiefs, if you guys haven't heard about that, which I would be totally down with as our secondary wide receiver. But going with my next pick in the second round, I am going with my tried and true guy. I'm going with Elijah Moore. I think he realistically, behind my previous pick at the 201, Devonta Smith may very well be the best pure route runner and separator in the class. He is electric, and I, along with Andrew Erickson, we have been exchanging random tweets. Every video of Elijah Moore that's popped up on any of our timelines from all the way back in high school, we've been exchanging, because it's just so much fun to watch this guy play football. And that's the kind of player I want. On top of being good at football, I want to enjoy when I'm watching him play, and Elijah Moore is that guy.
No, and I actually have seen him starting to creep up into the first round of NFL mock drafts. Now, this will not happen. I don't know if these guys are mocking to stroke their own ego, or it's come look how smart I am. But Chris Ballard has done exactly 3 drafts in Indianapolis, and as interested as I would be to see Elijah Moore become a Colt, it's not going to happen in the first round. Not on a Chris Ballard team that needs a left tackle, that needs a defensive lineman to replace D'Amico Autry. He is not taking a wide receiver, even one as talented as Elijah Moore, but I think someone will. And he is part of this group. And this goes back to my Waddle Passover at the 103. Every year the NCAA is giving us, like since 2018, 10, 12, 15 wide receivers that can produce almost immediately. And you're seeing that impact on free agency. Guys like Juju getting a 1-year, $8 million deal. I mean, Kenny Galladay got paid. But outside of that, man, this free agent market, it's because the salary cap constraints due to COVID has really squeezed that NFL middle class. Because would you be surprised? Now, I'll ask you, Dallas, because you just drafted him. Would you be surprised if Elijah Moore had landed in that Juju Smith-Schuster role in Pittsburgh? Would you have been surprised if he was as equally effective in that role as Juju has been the last couple of years? Not as 1,400 and whatever, 14 touchdown year, but I'm talking about the last 2 years when he's been around like 80 receptions and 900 yards.
Not at all. I think he probably would have done more than what we've seen from Juju the last 2 years since that blow-up season that he's had. Specifically, Elijah Moore can be a security blanket. He can be the quote-unquote tiny tight end that a lot of the young quarterbacks will want to latch onto. So when I see him, I literally was hoping Juju wouldn't return to Pittsburgh so that a guy like Elijah Moore could immediately find a role in an offense like Pittsburgh. Specifically, I know they've brought in some guys, but they're still needing some wide receiver help. I think Miami is the ideal spot for him. Tua likes to throw short. He likes to throw towards separators. He likes to throw in timing routes. Give me a guy who can do that in Elijah Moore. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if he put up a stat line in his rookie season of somewhere around that 70 to 80 catches, maybe not the 900 yards, but somewhere around 800, just as that repeated target hog.
All right, and I didn't mean to shit on Juju Smith-Schuster. That's more of like Odell Beckham's thing. So, Maddie, you're back up at the 209. Who you got?
Yeah, this is where the tier breakdown starts to happen because Elijah Moore was the top of my tiers. So, I'm going to go to the tight end position because this is tight end premium. I'm taking the yards after the catch monster, Brevin Jordan. This guy reminds me of Jonnu Smith in his yards after the catch, a little more agile. He's good. This is tight end premium, like we said. So you need your tight ends. So anything to shore up the tight end position, I'll take. And Brevin Jordan's my tight end 2 in this class.
Well, I was getting ready to cuss you. Yes, there is a lot of familiarity. I would have loved to have seen him actually produce at the Combine the way that we saw Mike Gesicki produce at the Combine, or even a Vernon Davis. I know Noah Fant was another super freak from an athlete standpoint. I'm going to take a guy that I don't think is going to be quite the athletic super freak at the tight end position, but it's someone that I really hope lands in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, and that's Pat Freiermuth. Tight end premium, I don't think I'll wind up with a lot of Kyle Pitts in my rookie drafts, even tight end premium, based on where I think he would go, because 99.9% of my leagues that are tight end premium are also Superflex. And if I'm drafting in a spot where Kyle Pitts is going to go, I'm probably going to lean one of the big 3 running backs or one of the big 3 or 4 quarterbacks. It's the value of the position and a little bit more certainty. So I love Kyle Pitts. And one thing I will say about Kyle Pitts is that, would you be shocked if this happened last year with Antonio Gibson? We thought he would be drafted as a wide receiver. The football team announced him as a running back. If Kyle Pitts tells Team X, hey, we're not going to go to you if you draft us as a tight end. We want to be designated as a wide receiver because we want that wide receiver scratch come the second contract. That could really screw you over down the road in a rookie draft. But anyway, Pat Freiermuth, kind of more of a classic tight end. that can catch the ball. I'm hoping to get more than like Kyle Rudolph. I'm hoping he's like Kyle Rudolph with some upside. So I'm going to take Pat Freiermuth at the 109. Easy for me to say. Dallas, you're back up at the 110.
So for me, this is kind of like what Maddie said. I am in a tier of I'm okay with any of these guys. So I'm going to go with a personal preference. I have 3 wide receivers in this specific tier. I'm going to go with my guy, De'Ami Brown. This may be unpopular to a lot of people out there with guys like Amon-Ra St. and Tylen Wallace as my other 2 guys that are in that tier. But when I see De'Ami, when I'm in this range in the draft, I'm looking for a guy that can absolutely dominate at what he's asked to do at the next level. And that is what De'Ami can do. He not only can be a target hog, but he is one of probably the top 2 or 3 deep ball wide receivers in this draft. He's extremely consistent with his route running. He separates. He can get behind you. The only thing that people have issues with are drops. And anyone who's heard me talk about it before, I'm going to repeat myself real quickly. Drops are the least sticky stat from year to year, along with touchdowns. So for me, that's something that you can fit. Sit him in front of a jugs machine, give him 1,000 balls a week for all I care. I don't care. I want what you can't teach, and that's athleticism and an understanding of exactly where you're supposed to be for your quarterback to get open.
Man, I want to agree with you, but my fear is it would come down to where if he gets drafted to like an old stodgy ball coach. Not that they would do it, but the gentleman who coaches the Denver Broncos used to be the DC in the Vic Fangio. Man, you drop a couple of balls under Vic Fangio, man, your ass is on the bench. So I want him to go to like a progressive head coach. Remember, I'll never forget Kareem Hunt's first game on Thursday Night Football. Literally, Al Michaels says that he's not fumbled the ball since like a freshman in college. In like his very first series, he fumbles. Did Andy Reid bench him for the rest of his life? No. Andy Reid put him right back out there. So hopefully he goes to a good progressive offense. All right, Maddie, you're up 2-11.
Yeah,
Quick question before we start, Maddie.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm going to go with this. So you were talking about fit. How would you feel about him going to Tennessee?
Dude, I would feel fine with anybody going to Tennessee. Here's the thing about Tennessee. I would love it because they need volume. They need playmakers. I don't know how redundant he is to A.J. Brown. I mean, A.J. Brown's kind of his own thing, so it's hard to do like a one-to-one comparison. But yeah, there's a little side note. Anyone who lands in Tennessee is going to be a value because right now it's currently A.J. Brown. Corey Davis is gone. Adam Humphries is gone. Jonnu Smith is gone. I'm missing someone else too. I mean, like it's literally without any much of a hyperbole at all. It's literally A.J. Brown and no one else. So yes, I would love anybody in Tennessee. Maddie, you're up. Last pick of the second round for you, my friend.
Yeah, man. So this is where you talk about the running back position being a little more valuable than wide receivers. There's one guy in a PPR league that I might reach on, but I'm gonna drop his name, but he's not my pick. My pick is Chuba Hubbard from Oklahoma State. He's fast. This is just a value pick. This is hoping that he turns out to be something because he regressed his senior year. He had Jonathan Taylor-like numbers his junior year, but he was the whole offense. So, he produced at a high level in college. You like to see that, but you don't like to see the regression his senior year. So that's why he's dropping in these rookie drafts. And that's why I'm going to take a chance on him in the second round at the end because, the chance that he hits is pretty high with his talent because he broke out at a young age.
Yeah, he is he's an interesting guy. I was, like everybody has regrets in life. Like one of mine was never joining the military. If I could go back and redo it, I would do that. If Chuba Hubbard had one regret, it was not coming out last year and coming back and getting mixed up in this COVID season. I know he had issues with his coach and all sorts of other things. I'm going to take a bit of a reach here, but a guy that I really, really like, especially with the way the NFL is using slot receivers, and it may be a small tad bit of a reach, but I'm going to do it. and that's going to be Amari Rogers. I really like this 5'9", 215-pound little ball of muscle. Just could not be a bigger fan. And, good athletic measurables. I think he looks like a poor man's Rondale Moore.
I was just about to name drop him as my running back pick because they were working him out at running back. Reminds me of Antonio Gibson.
That would be awesome for me. A guy who can get some carries as well. So I'm going to go Amari Rogers, and I'm going to give these guys a minute to have a drink of their beverage while I recap the second round. So the 201 was Devonta Smith. The 202 was Kenneth Gainwell. The 303 was Jamar Jefferson. The 204 was Michael Carter. The 205 was Terrace Marshall Jr. The 206 was Jalen Waddle. The 207 was Elijah Moore. The 208 was Brevin Jordan. The 209 was Pat Freiermuth. The 210 was Diami Brown. The 211 is Chuba Hubbard. And the 212 is Amari Rogers. So, Dallas, anything you want to cover on Rogers before you make the 301?
Yeah, we've talked about him a little bit more. Again, it was the same episode with Andrew from PFF. Him and Elijah Moore are my two favorite slot receivers. To be honest with you, no one's talking about Amari Rogers right now, and they really should be. He's going to be a guy that falls in your drafts when you look on the board. You're like, okay, there's some wide receivers, not really liking any of them here. I would strongly suggest taking Amari Rogers over even the next guy I'm about to take. Amari was going to be my next pick. I was sitting there like, I know Memphis is probably going to take Amari right now, just from conversations we've had. But I love him, man. He is extremely versatile. He's extremely underrated, and I love his physicality. You guys know I love those dog mentality guys when they're out there, and he's one of them.
All right. Well, Mr. Magic Matty, the graphics guru, you're up at the 302.
Yeah, so the 302, who just went at the 301? I missed that.
Oh, I didn't actually take anyone at the 301 yet. It's all good. I'll go. I'll make it quick. So my next guy is my dog guy that I compare to Amari Rogers. It's Mr. Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State. So Tylan Wallace is that guy who, like I said, I like the guys that can separate. I like the guys who can out-physical you on the outside when they're not playing inside the slot, and that's what Tylan Wallace does. He dominated at a young age. He does have an injury history. It's not an extensive one, but it's one to look out for. That's why at this point I'm looking for upside, and he's a guy that screams upside to me.
And he had a nice inflated 40 time down at Exos. He was another one of those sub 4.4 guys with a little wink, if you will. All right, Maddie, you're up at the 302. Tylan Wallace off the board.
It's my sleeper pick. It's Demetric Felton out of UCLA. He's a running back, wide receiver, slot hybrid. This guy's a lot like J.D. McKissick. In a PPR league, this guy is a sleeper stash, man. He played 50% of his snaps at wide receiver, 50% of his snaps at running back his senior year of college. I like that, man, and that's some positional versatility that I like. So Demetric Felton's a guy that I'll be scooping up at the 301 in most of my leagues. If my man Amari Rogers from Clemson is in there.
Well, I sniped you on him. Now, so what I'm doing is as I'm writing down these names, actually I'm typing them out. I'm putting down position designations, and I'm going to color code it so it looks similar to sleeper. But I put him down RB/wide receiver. He's the first one that I gave a dual designation. So all right, I'm back up, man. Dude, the board's getting thin, but that's why we do these drafts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver out of UCLA. This might be, next to Jalen Waddle, this might be the biggest steal that I've made yet. Talented guy, from all I've read and heard. He is the more talented of the St. Browns. Ironically, much like his brother, he was someone that I was expecting to go earlier in rookie drafts, like his brother Equanimous. and both of those guys managed to slide just a little bit. So I'm going to kick it back to Dallas for the 304.
Yeah, so for me, I'm going with a guy that I actually had rated quite a bit higher than some of the other guys that we've picked recently. I don't know if he's going to get the draft capital that I'm having in my head specifically, but I'm going with the big time, the hammer himself, Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. He is a guy that is going to be in that 230 plus range weight wise, but he is basically a dancing bear. He moves so shifty for a guy that's that big. And if he comes into a backfield that's even remotely up in the air, he is going to take it over. He is a guy this late at the running back position that has probably the highest upside in my eyes for actually seizing a specific role, specifically the goal line, just with the physicality that he plays with and the size. But I think he is someone that even if he doesn't have the lead role in his rookie year, he's still going to be viable depending on the team that he actually goes to.
All right. Well, he is a guy that I've heard mixed results about this guy. So for me, man, this thing just gets sketchier and sketchier. All right, I don't mind him this late in a draft. He's another guy. He was Elijah. Was it Moore? Is Moore the one that you had earlier? Okay, he was Elijah Moore because there's two Elijahs. We're going to talk about one eventually. Elijah Moore was the second coming of Kadarius Toney, as in the guy that all the draft nicks were just raving about, just raving, hey, this guy's going to be an NFL first rounder. I'm not sure I trust him. I'm not sure I trust the overall game and his lack of production at times in college. But when you're in the third round of your rookie drafts, man, you're throwing darts. And I wrote an article a long time ago that, like, the first round, it's like, if you want to compare it to gambling, it's like playing poker. The really talented people that do their research and study and do solvers and work on the game, they can be really successful. The second round's a little bit more like blackjack. If you play it perfectly, you've got a slight edge over 50-50. You start getting into the third round, man, the odds just keep getting, eventually you get to like slot machine range, and you just want to pull that handle and you just want to come up a winner. So Kadarius Toney in the right system could be that very thing. I mean, maybe he winds up in Miami. Maybe he does what Dallas was talking earlier. So I'm going to go Kadarius Toney at the 306 and give it back to Dallas.
You sniping me?
Yeah, I'm sniping you. You
just skipped me and sniped me.
Oh. Well, that's what happens when you're trying to host, produce, and whatever. So are you taking Kadarius Toney?
I was going to, but I'll pivot. I'll let you have Kadarius Toney, and I'll take a guy that many people don't know about. His name is Jalen Darden, out of University of North Texas. North Texas has produced Jeff Wilson Jr. Recently from the for the NFL. So not many names, but Jalen Darden's he's an athlete, and I like what he's done on tape. I'm not gonna keep it too long, but I like Jalen Darden.
You're the third person that I've heard mention Jalen Darden. One of them is Greg Cosell. He was recently doing a guest spot on another podcast, and he was talking about Jalen Darden, and I was like, eyebrow raised, because Greg Cosell has steered me very well over the years with these wide receivers. All right, Dallas, you're up at the 307, I'm sure this time.
Yeah, just a quick note on Darden. The one concern I have is, yes, he puts up some good tape, but at the same time, the competition he's going up against, typically I don't care about that, but from watching some of his like all 22 type film that they have on him, a lot of the times it's just him running a slant over the middle of the field against a Division III linebacker who runs a 5.0 40 that has no chance of tracking him down. So that's just something to be a little bit wary of. I don't think he's super fast, which is kind of a cutoff for me when a guy that probably going to be relegated to inside. But I'm going to do it. Maddie's going to hate it. I don't care. I was playing the waiting game, the chicken game, to see if he was going to take him because I knew he probably wasn't. I'm taking my man, Tamorrion Terry. I'm a man of my word. This draft is officially the all Dallas team is what I'm rocking right now based off of my picks. But honestly, I'd be comfortable taking him sooner than where I'm taking him right now. Physical tools wise, he is above pretty much everyone in this draft class. He has the physicality that no one else in this draft class has. He has the size. He has the speed. I wish that the combine was happening this year, as many do, just so we could see him run that 4.3 at that 220 size. But only concerns that you have with him are his drops, which I don't care about. And you have to be a little bit concerned with the off issue stuff that's going on. But at the same time, FSU was a complete disaster with the coaching this year. There's a lot of issues going on with the organizational stuff, the offensive playbook. He basically left the team. So you just kind of have to be comfortable taking him. But if he lands on any team that needs a legitimate deep threat, he is going to feast, and you people need to recognize it.
Hey, some of these names call themselves. So you guys have been great. All right, now, Maddie, I apologize for skipping you last time. I'm not going to skip you this time. You are back up, my friend. You have got the 308.
This is a guy that I like quite a bit, and that is Kylan Hill. He's an all-around back. He reminds me of Jamal Williams. He's just a guy that you're hoping finds a role as a niche RB2 in a team that gives him an opportunity. He fits really well in any kind of Shanahan offense, and there's a lot of those going around in the NFL these days. Any LaFleur brother runs that. So if he ends up on the Jets, Kylan Hill would be a great value. Kylan Hill is he's a guy who you want on your team. He plays football to play football. So that's why I like Kylan Hill.
All right. Well, this is classic Memphis. This is the later we go in the draft, the more I'm going to lean running back. So I'm going to go with a senior coming out of Louisiana, Lafayette. I want to make sure I got that right. The Raging Cajuns. It is Mr. Elijah Mitchell. I told you were going to hear about this guy. You're going to hear about this guy. 5'10", 215 pounds. We've been asking a lot of our guests recently, who's your 2021 James Robinson? This is my 2021 James Robinson. I like the size. I like the small school. I think if I hit on him in the end of the third round, then I can get out a year from now, just like you got out good on James Robinson. I actually saw James Robinson go in the fourth round of a startup, Superflex tight end premium league that I'm in the middle of right now. So for me, I'm going to go with my man, the other Elijah, the not so talented Elijah, but still Elijah I want. Elijah Mitchell, running back out of Louisiana Lafayette. All right, Dallas, your final pick of the shenanigan. You're up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so you know, you both went back-to-back with my last two running backs that I had ranked. Everyone else that's available, I don't care about. So that's just my cutoff. I don't even rank anyone else after that. But my QB6 is very controversial, is how I will phrase it. I'm not going with a very well-known or talked about guy specifically. I want to talk about Davis Mills a little bit just because I watched his pro day earlier this week. He really impressed me in the rain. He looked great, and there was just a lot of tools. It's just the injury and the offense that he played in was a little bit concerning. He's a guy I would probably pick in front of this guy, but it's between Davis Mills and my QB6 right now is Peyton Ramsey out of Northwestern. So this is extremely unpopular pick. A lot of you are probably going, who the hell is Peyton Ramsey? He is a guy that transferred from Indiana. He started for Northwestern, and he went under the radar in the Big Ten, but he is a steady Eddie at quarterback. He reminds me a lot of what Mac Jones specifically does. His accuracy is on point, and he actually has a very accurate deep ball specifically. Again, the questions come in when you talk about his arm strength specifically. But when I see him, he dismantles defenses. He dismantled Ohio State's defense in that extremely close game with Northwestern this last year. His last collegiate game that he played against Auburn in the bowl game, he put up 70% completion, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles, and was only sacked 2 times. That's a good SEC defense. He, on the stage, showed out. The people that want to rank Kyle Trask from Florida above of him, just because of that 1 year of production. He floundered when it mattered. He floundered down the stretch. I want to go with a guy who's a steady Eddie if I'm picking a quarterback in this type of Superflex. He reminds me a lot of what we're seeing right now from Gardner Minshew, to where he has the tools to succeed. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. He definitely needs a situational type of situation to pop up. But at this late in the draft, the end of the third round in a Superflex, I'm going to go with the guy that I have the most confidence in at quarterback.
All right. It's as if Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Ramsey had a child, and you got Patrick Ramsey. All right, Maddie, last pick, 311, fire away.
The choice for me here, man, is either a quarterback or a wide receiver. I have a guy pretty high on my board, and I think I'm going to take him because I can play this sound effect.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap!
And that's Nico Collins out of Michigan. Nico Collins is a bigger receiver. He's a little slower, but he's a possession receiver, and that's what I like from him. Specifically, he doesn't let balls get away from his body. Good catch radius, goes out for everything, man. And, he had a pretty terrible quarterback throwing him the rock, which is Shea Patterson. So you can't really fault him for that. They didn't have a wide receiver coach his freshman year. So that's another thing that Michigan was doing wrong. Everything that could have went wrong in his college career went wrong. And he still produced a decent amount with a terrible quarterback. So, I think that Nico Collins, personally having met the guy, is a stand-up person. So that's why I'm going to be drafting him, is because I believe in his character and his ability on the field. So I think he has the intangibles as well as the on-the-field stuff.
All right. Well, I thought that Dallas was going to go with my guy. I am going to go with Chris Sims, QB3. I am going to go Kellen Mond. If I'm going to take another dart throw in a league, and, this guy says, Chris Sims says that Kellen Mond gives him Dak Prescott vibes, a guy that could come in and maybe do some damage in the NFL. I don't know. But if you get lucky and you hit on a running back in the back end of the third round, you're going to make a profit. If you hit on a quarterback in the back end of the third round in a Superflex, you are going to make an amazing amount of profit and flippability. So that is our third round. I'm going to recap that real quick, and then I'm going to get these guys out of here. All right, 301, Tylan Wallace. 302, Demetric Felton. 303, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 304, Ramondre Stevenson. 306, Jalen Darden. 305 was Jalen Darden. 306 was Kadarius Toney. 307 was Tamarian Terry. 308 was Kylan Hill. 309 was Elijah Mitchell. 310 was Patrick Ramsey. 311 Nico Collins. 312 Kellen Moore. All right, Dallas, one question, actually two questions, because I'm the host. I can do that. One, where can these people find you, and who was your favorite pick of this exercise?
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, my Twitter handle is @SaladGalore with 2 L's, my name backwards, SALLAD. You can also find me over at the Podcasting Network, as well as every Sunday night with my main man Memphis here on the Dynasty Rookie Rundown. When it comes to my personal favorite pick, I would probably have to go with your Waddle pick. I think that was the best value that you're ever going to see Jalen Waddle go at. I think it made the most sense with what the board was setting up as, and I think that would have the highest dividends of return.
All right, I did great. All right, Maddie, where can these people find you? What are you working on? And who is your favorite pick of this draft?
Yeah, man. Find me on YouTube, Matty Big Chest. Find me on Twitter @Matty Big Chest. My favorite pick of this draft. It was the first pick of the draft. It was Devonta Smith. That was the best value in my mind. You can't convince me otherwise.
Can't say I hate it. And make sure you follow that man on YouTube and @Matty Big Chest on Twitter. I'm going to plug his graphics work because his graphics work is very good. And my favorite pick of this draft It's really close between the Marshall Jr. and the Waddle pick. I think those are both tremendous values, and that's a tie that will be broken on draft night. So there you go. As promised, a little mock draft Monday in your life. You've now got 36 players taken in a Superflex tight end premium. You know, if you're watching along or listening on YouTube, comment below, man. Let us know what pick you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And if you want to help us do everything, support our sponsors, but rate, review, subscribe, and share everywhere. And on behalf of Maddie and Dallas, my name is Memphis. And remember, here at the Rookie Rundown, we are just trying to make the world a better place for fantasy football. We'll see you back here real soon with more rookies. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.